Hello, good evening, and welcome to Lions Lineup, a new show here at Lions Television that will provide you sports analysis, information, and fun on the national level. On the lineup today, Joe Paterno's Fall, NASCAR's Texas Motor Speedway, Andy Reid and the Eagles Dream Team, plus Fact or Fiction and the Take Your Pick segment. Stay tuned. Welcome back, everybody. I'm your host, Alex Zucker, here with my two colleagues, Jonathan Macklin and Matt Iannicone. And our first segment for today's show will be our personal story segment, where each of our experts give a story on an event that's happening in sports. And our first story for today will be John.
Thanks, Alec. The week has been absolute hell for the Penn State Nittany Lions. Joe Paterno, the Penn State football coach for the last 46 years and the winningest coach in FBS history, has been forced to resign at the heels of a scandal that has rocked Happy Valley and the rest of the sporting world. Former Penn State assistant coach Jerry Sandusky is being investigated for the abuse of 8 children between 1994 and 2002. But almost as tragic as these alleged crimes is the evidence that Joe Paterno found out about one of these cases and reported it to the Penn State athletic director, but neglected to report it to the police. Pennsylvania prosecutors are not investigating Paterno and claim that he has no criminal liability in this case, but Paterno's liability is not in a court of law, but in the court of public opinion. And for that, he has been held responsible, and now one of the greatest coaches in sports history is being forced to resign in disgrace. It is truly the end of an era.
Well, I think obviously you're right. It's really been hell this week for the Nittany Lions and most of the Penn State community to see their main figure, their highest figure in public opinion, like you were talking about, that they admire the most, really have a lot of controversy. I think that his decision, though, to retire, which he made today, was the right decision. I think that he's reached an age and a point in his life where maybe it is time to move on.
And there weren't really a lot of options for Paterno in the first place. He was in a contract year. There was a lot of discussion last year that he might resign at the end of last year. He decided to stay on this year. There was a lot of, ironically, a lot of pressure for him to stay on this past year so that he would be able to get that 409th win and become the winningest coach in the FBS. But, now his legacy has been very much tarnished. And
Absolutely.
To be quite frank, the minute he put his team's welfare and his coaching staff's welfare over the welfare of that child, he forfeited a great deal of not only his personal integrity, but his legacy. He forfeited all of it by deciding that the welfare of the team was worth just a little bit more than taking the extra step to ensure the welfare of that child.
Yes, and I want to add something about Joe Paterno's punishment in this case. I won't be surprised if the Pennsylvania police add more penalties, add more fines for him to pay. Yeah, he may not only have to pay the team the penalty, but he may have to pay the court.
Yeah. Well, it should be interesting to see how the fines end up being, but definitely a tough day and a tough couple of weeks for Joe Paterno. We'll see how the change in head coach will affect the Penn State football team.
Absolutely.
All right, so we're going to move on to our next personal story for today, and that will be Matt. Go ahead.
Thank you very much, Alec. There was a lot of excitement at the Texas Motor Speedway this past Sunday. Tony Stewart won the AAA Texas 500 and trails Carl Edwards by 3 points with 2 races left in the chase. Also in the news of NASCAR, Trevor Bayne scored his first Nationwide Series victory, holding off a hard-charging Denny Hamlin, who is subbing for Kyle Busch. In addition, NASCAR suspended Kyle Busch for intentionally wrecking Ron Hornaday during a caution in the Truck Series race. Kevin Harvick took the checkered flag just ahead of the brothers of Austin and Ty Dillon, who finished second and third, respectively.
Well, I think that very nice story, Matt, and it's an interesting topic because we really don't talk too much about NASCAR, but the events at the Texas Motorway Speedway this week really were interesting, as Matt pointed out.
Oh yeah, they were not only that, they were fantastic. Like, imagine this year's Daytona 500 winner winning a his first nationwide series, which is really a rare thing to do for the drivers who get their first Cup win and their first nationwide win in the same year.
Yeah.
That's going to be one of the biggest highlights. And I'm surprised. My biggest surprise in the chase is how well Brad Keselowski is doing. He is in 5th spot. He is still in the hunt for the championship. I won't be surprised. He could be a threat. He might be a real dark horse coming into these last 2 races. Do you agree on this subject or not?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
John?
I agree. It certainly looks like it's going to be a very interesting year in NASCAR. I just hope that Kyle Busch's suspension doesn't keep him away from the game for too long.
Yeah, and how about you, Kevin Harvick?
Yeah.
What a great way to take his number 2 Hunt Brothers Chevrolet to Hunt Brothers Pizza Chevrolet, to victory lane
Yeah.
Friday night, and I won't be surprised if more penalties on Kyle Busch come within the next few days or so.
It should be very interesting. We'll see how the events turn out with the NASCAR story. Okay, so we're finally going to go to our third story for today, and it'll be my story. And it's interesting because this past summer, the newly acquired backup quarterback on the Philadelphia Eagles, Vince Young, said the Eagles were a dream team. After this declaration, there was much preseason hype on the team, and many experts predicted a 12-win season for Philadelphia. Now, 8 games in, the Eagles stand at 3-5, and this dream team may miss the playoffs. The dream team declaration made by Young, in a sense, put extra pressure on the team to win, and not just on the players, but also on head coach Andy Reid. Now, Reid has coached the team since 1999 and has had an impressive overall record. His career regular season record is 120, 77-1, a .609 winning percentage. And he also led the Eagles to 5 NFC Championship games and Super Bowl 39. This season, with the team struggling, many anxious Eagles fans want Reid to be fired. If the Eagles miss the playoffs this year, which is a definite possibility, firing Reid will be an option for the future. Though Reid's team is underachieved, there may not be a decent replacement on the market. And therefore, it's my opinion that no matter what happens this year, Reid will still be the head coach for the Eagles at the start of the 2012-2013 season.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right as far as Reid is concerned. He has job security in Philadelphia that no other person in that entire building has, except the owner. The owner is the owner right now is the only person with job security better than Andy Reid. But you've got to really look at what has caused a lot of these losses for the Eagles. You've got Ronnie Brown fumbling at the 1-yard line after, for some reason, trying to throw the ball forward.
Yeah, that should have been a big touchdown for them.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
and
if he not have fumbled that at the 1, they may have had a shot. They may have had the victory.
Yeah.
You've also got Deshaun Jackson, who has not been playing nearly as well as he insisted he deserves to be playing. He's playing exactly like somebody making his kind of money, it would be expected to playing, dropping passes left and right, not even doing as well on kicking and punt returning, which is one of the things that's made him one of the best threats in the game. And then all of these big-name free agents that the Eagles picked up. Everybody said they won the absolute lottery when they were able to pick up Nnamdi Asomugha, Jason Babin, even Vince Young as Michael Vick's backup, and then even giving Michael Vick that new $100 million contract. These things just haven't panned out for the Eagles. Yes, they did an absolutely masterful job of managing the salary cap, but it didn't work out. They did not get the right players for their scheme. Nnamdi Asomugha, great player, but they're just not using him right. It's like it would be like using Tim Tebow on the defensive side or at the quarterback position. Some players just don't play at the in the particular scheme that they're in.
The Eagles, I really do like Andy Reid. I'm not an Eagles fan.
I agree with you, Alec.
Thanks, Matt. And I think that I've watched him coach over the years, and I think that he's a great regular season coach. He knows how to win games throughout the year. But I really think that in the playoffs, he does have a lot of issues when it comes to clock management, when it comes to play calling. And
Yeah.
that's really why his postseason record is 10-9, which is not very good. And he has lost 4 out of the 5
Yeah, that's
NFC
like-
championship games he's been to. So I really think that he will stay on the Eagles, but I do not believe that he will win a Super Bowl in Philly if he is the head coach.
It's hard.
I think, yeah, I agree with you, Alec. He will stay for at least the start of 2012. But yeah, and as for the playoff picture for this, year, I won't count them out just yet. I think they can bounce back. It's going to be very. I'm not guaranteeing it. They might get in via the wild card. I'm
Yeah.
thinking. It's going to be. Yeah, their chances are going to be pretty borderline right now.
All right, well,
no, there's too much competition
Yeah,
for
I
them.
agree.
For them
Yeah,
to,
they're,
for
yeah,
them to
we'll
make
see
it.
what-
I don't think
it's
so.
gonna be very borderline
Yeah.
for the Eagles. To
It'll
make
be interesting to see how it ends up. So we're all out of time for the personal story segment. We'll take a short break, and we will be back with more of Lions Lineup right after this. Welcome back, everybody. Now we will begin our Fact or Fiction segment, where our experts decide whether or not a particular statement is essentially true or false. So our first statement for today is that the 7-1 San Francisco 49ers, nobody thought they'd be 7-1, will win 12 games this year. Jonathan.
I'm going to start by saying fiction. 3 months ago, I wouldn't have said that they would win 8 games, but now they're only a game away. I don't think that they can win 12 games. I think 11 games is their limit. They're probably going to clinch their division within the next 2 or 4 weeks. And when they do that, they're going to start resting starters. They're going to want Frank Gore healthy for the playoffs. He hasn't been completely healthy in a while. They're going to want, Michael Crabtree and all of the rest of their offensive and even their defensive starters as healthy as possible. So they're going to drop the games to the Giants, Pittsburgh, Baltimore, and then lose at least one of their division games.
You got it. Matt?
I'm going to say fact on this because their offense is really strong. And if they can keep these starters going, but still rest them, their defense can. I still think they have a good enough defense that they may be a potential factor for the Super Bowl.
Wow, that's a bold statement there. I think for me, I'm going to say fiction too. I agree with Jonathan. I think that if they were in a tougher division where they need to play their starters to win these Week 13, Week 14 games, I think they might win 12 games. But the fact that they're going to clinch their division in 2 to 3 weeks means that those games are going to be meaningless. There's going to be no point to have all your starters. And they have a pretty tough schedule. As you said, they're playing Pittsburgh, Baltimore, the Giants.
Yeah.
These are tough teams. So, yeah, I think they'll go either 10-6, 11-15. Okay, we're going to move on to our next statement. And our statement for number 2 is the Buffalo Bills will make the playoffs this year. Jonathan.
Okay, I'm gonna start by saying fiction. Buffalo is not for real. They've got Fred Jackson and Ryan Fitzpatrick. Those guys are real. Everybody else is a pretender. Okay, their 2 signature wins against in the Patriots, and who was the other team that they beat? That was the I can't remember. What was it? The Raiders? Yeah, they got the Raiders.
Raiders.
But all they've really proven is what everybody else has been proven, is that anybody can be beaten. In their losses, they have played extremely poorly. This is not a team that is ready for the postseason. Yeah, I can imagine them winning 7, maybe even 8 games, and having that as their record for the rest of the year. But this is not a playoff team.
Matt?
This is a really tough challenge, but I think I'm going to go out. I might have to go with fact on this one because I'm going to say fact at the moment because if they've been known for rallying late, and Ryan Lindell can actually make the long field goals at the end of second and fourth quarters. If they can score at least 24 or more the remainder of the games and win most of them, they may do just enough to make a wild card berth, I think.
I think that it's tough for Buffalo because we do know that the Jets and the Patriots are for real. They're both good teams, and they've had success in the past few years. So assuming that both of those teams make the playoffs, that leaves only one wild card spot. And I think this team at 5-3, they're going to Dallas this week, which is a big game. I think especially if they lose this week, almost no chance they're getting that spot. If they do win, they'll have a shot. But I still don't think this team's for real. I think
borderline.
And I think Fitzpatrick played very poorly last week,
Yeah,
so we'll see.
It's going to be borderline for those Buffalo Bills to make the playoffs as well.
Yeah.
I'm going to put a question mark.
Okay.
I don't see it happening. I still don't see it happening, but time
We
will
will see
tell.
what happens. Okay. Our third statement for today. Eli Manning, with his comeback win against the Patriots this past week, is now one of the top 5 best quarterbacks in the NFL. Jonathan?
I'm going to put him at number 6 or 7 because I'm not sure whether or not it's right to have Peyton Manning on
You know
this
what? Let's
list
say
right
no,
now.
no Peyton. He's
No
hurt for
Peyton
this
Manning.
year.
I will put him at either number 5 or number 6. I am definitely going to jettison him ahead of Tony Romo and Phillip Rivers. Eli Manning has done way too much for people to say that he is not better than them.
He's got a ring.
Yeah, he's got the ring. He's got comeback wins, which neither of those guys have. But ahead of him, you do have a pretty long list. You've got Tom Brady. You've got Aaron Rodgers, Drew Brees.
Yeah.
I think you need to have Ben Roethlisberger on that list because of his postseason record. Michael Vick is really the only wild card. Whether he should go 4, 5, or 6, I can't say. But if this was a list of who the top 6 best quarterbacks in the NFL are, I would definitely have Eli on that list.
Okay. Matt?
He was his fact or fiction? Jonathan, was yours fact or fiction?
Mine is really either or.
Okay.
Yeah, this is a really challenge. Eli, I don't want to disappoint you, but you're close though. You're like 6. I have to say fiction, actually.
Okay.
I'm not saying that he's not. I'm not saying that he's not a top 5. He might be a wild card though. I still think Drew Brees of the New Orleans Saints is one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL.
Okay.
No
He's
argument.
been throwing
Yeah.
touchdowns to his key players, and I'll get to more about that in
Okay.
the next segment.
I think I'm going to say fact. And in my opinion, I think he's number 4. I think he's behind Brady, Rodgers, and Breeze. I think that he's better than Vic. You can look at Vic's record and his postseason record. You can't tell me that Eli Manning, with the way he's playing this year, not only with the wins and the statistics too, he's come up big in the clutch too. You got to give him number 4, I'd say.
You know what? I think you know what? I think so. You know what? On that note, I think I would amend my statement. I think you're right. I think Eli Manning is better than Vic.
Okay.
Actually,
I don't know that I just don't know that he is better than Roethlisberger. Roethlisberger
I think he is.
has done
Oh, yeah, he's
quite a lot
definitely-
to prove that
Statistically,
Roethlisberger
though,
is one of
he's
the
not.
best.
oh
he's-
yeah, Jonathan, he is really. I'm on that.
We'll see.
I might actually have to change my.
Okay.
I am going to change it to fact because here's the thing. Drew Brees is still number 1 in my opinion. He's just ahead of Tom Brady. And then for third, I might pick, as you said, Tony Romo.
No, I don't know. All right.
No.
Well,
Actually, Tony
you still
Romo's-
think he's in the top 5, though, right?
Yeah.
No,
Okay.
I think he's 4, I
All right.
think.
We got to move on to our
Yeah,
next
move on.
statement. Sorry to cut that short, but our 4th statement for today: the Baltimore Ravens have the best defense in the NFL.
I can't argue with. I'm going to say fact. I can't argue with statistics. Statistically, they have been one of the best and most consistent defenses in the last decade. Now, I believe that the Pittsburgh Steelers and New York Jets have better players on the defensive side, but neither one of those teams are living up to the defensive expectations. So, for right now, for this season, I'm going to say Baltimore does have the best defense in the NFL.
Matt?
Yeah, it's a really close call, but I'm afraid I'm going to have to go with fiction on this because they may be the best defense in the AFC, but I think the best defense is the New Orleans Saints, in my opinion.
Okay.
I think, and that defense is going to be a big key to make the postseason.
Well, we'll see. I know New Orleans will be competitive late in the season, and we'll see how their defense plays. I'm going to say fact, but with an asterisk. I think that this defense has been very consistent, as you mentioned, over the past decade. I think Pittsburgh's also very good. I mean, I think if Pittsburgh had won this past week, we could be arguing that they have the best defense. They just held the Patriots down and picked up the victory against them. So I'm going to say fact, but not 100%. All right, so that's going to do it for our Fact or Fiction segment. We'll take a short break, and we'll be right back with your Take Your Pick right after this. Welcome back, everyone. We will now begin our Take Your Pick segment on the show, where our experts decide who they think will win this week in the NFL. So our first game for today, the Pittsburgh Steelers at the Cincinnati Bengals. John?
I don't know if a lot of people are going to like this, but in an upset, I have the Cincinnati Bengals.
Okay, Matt?
I disagree with him. I'm going with the Pittsburgh Steelers, baby.
Okay.
On a field goal.
On a field. I think it'll be a close game. I think the Steelers will be up early, and Cincinnati will fight back, but I think a late touchdown will give the win to Pittsburgh. All right, our second game for today. This is a good one, Jonathan. The Patriots, New England Patriots at the New York Jets.
My heart says the Jets, but my brain says the Patriots, and this is a show based on facts, so I'm going to go with the Patriots.
Matt?
I'm going to go with the Jets because they're beating some really good teams, and they have a really good chance to win Sunday.
Okay. I'm going to say the Patriots. I think I'm a little bit biased in this decision, but I think that with Tom Brady coming off 2 losses, which is extremely rare for Bill Belichick and the Patriots, I think he puts on a show. I think that Patriots win by a touchdown, maybe something like 31-24, something like that.
It's been 4 years since he did that, but
we will see what happens. All right, third game for this week. The Buffalo Bills will visit the Dallas Cowboys.
All right, this is going to be the game where Dallas really puts Buffalo in their place. Dallas.
Okay.
I agree. It's going to be Cowboys 38-21.
Okay, they're definitely going to score a lot of points in that game. I think that Dallas has been really good at home this year. They haven't played very good teams at home, but I still think they've done much better there than on the road. I think Buffalo, and coincidentally, Buffalo's also done very well at home, so this is going to be a tough one to go in there on the road. I'm going to take Dallas too. Okay, our fourth game for today. Matt, I think I know which team you're going to pick here. The New Orleans Saints at the Atlanta Falcons. Matt?
All right. The Saints will win, baby. Because why I'm picking the Saints? They have the lead in the standings. And this will be a real good shot for them to make the playoffs.
Okay.
If they can beat Atlanta.
I got to agree with him. I don't see a single flaw on the Saints right now, and I've seen way too many on Atlanta, so I'm picking the Saints.
Well, I think I agree that Atlanta has a lot of flaws, but the Saints lost to St. Louis 2 weeks ago. So you can't really say and have a good argument that they have no flaws. I think that the defense is a little shaky, and I think that we'll see that. I think their offense is very one-dimensional too. But I'm going to say they're going to win this game. It'll be close. It's tough to go into Atlanta and win, but I think they'll get it done.
Everybody gets one, but...
All right, our final game for the week, the New York Giants will visit the San Francisco 49ers.
This is where I think San Francisco starts showing who they really are. I think the Giants are going to win this one. I'm not going to say they'll win big. It might be a little bit close, but the Giants have everything they need to really put the beating on San Francisco.
It's going to be 38-35 in overtime. Giants will win it.
Well, I think that I'm going to take the Niners, and I think this is an upset for me.
Really?
I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. I think that the Giants will come out a little flat. It's a long flight out to California, especially after beating New England.
So you have a predicted score for that one?
I'm going to say Niners win 17-14 in a defensive game. I think they'll hold Eli Manning and that Giants offense down, and a late drive could win it. But we'll see what happens. So definitely a very interesting segment. Appreciate you guys'
this
results.
win could probably possibly determine who makes the playoffs and who does not.
That's right. All right, well, that pretty much wraps up our show for today, and that will do it for this edition of Lions Lineup. We hope you enjoyed the show. If you'd like to be on our show as a guest or to get involved in Lions television, email our account at ltv@tcnj.edu. For Jonathan Macklin, Matt Iannacone, I'm Alex Zucker. We will see you next time.